Well, a new national survey shows 2023 has been a year of increasingly negative feelings towards home ownership. According to exclusive Ipsos polling for Global News, 77% of Canadians say owning a home is now only for the rich, up from 69% in April. Meanwhile, 71% of renters have given up on ever owning a home, up from 63% in April. Among current homeowners, nearly 4 in 10 are concerned they may not be able to keep their homes due to high mortgage rates.
In today's video, we are going to talk about how housing has become very expensive in Canada. Very, very expensive. We have affordability crisis as far as housing is concerned. So in this video, we are going to give you the average prices across the provinces, all 10 provinces, the reasons behind this high cost of housing in Canada, and what can be done by the authorities to alleviate this problem. So let's start by the average prices. In British Columbia, I have listed here on this board the average prices. In the British average cost of house is $964,349. This one here. In Ontario, the average cost is $849 and $289. That's in Ontario. In Quebec, the average cost of housing is $515,899. $515,899. In Alberta, the average cost of house is $509 and $468. In Nova Scotia, the average cost of house is $419,069. In Manitoba, the average cost of a house is $389,444. In Prince Edward Island, the average cost of a house is $373. In Saskatchewan, the average cost of a house is $345,680. In Newfoundland and Labrador, the average cost is $309,844. This is roughly, I think, probably this is the lowest affordable because it's out there, nothing much is happening. Obviously, this justifies the price. And then in New Brunswick, average cost is $326,100. So as for you guys who might not be familiar with Canada as a country, we have 10 provinces, which I've listed these 10 provinces here. And then we have 3 territories, which is the northern part. There isn't much of economic activity. And as a result, I expect the house, of course, to be cheaper most of the time, covered by snow. Now we are going to look for the reasons high cost of housing in Canada. We are going to see what should be done. Houses so high. The first and the foremost is Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. There is a high demand. Population is risen in these cities due to immigration, and hence the demand of houses is. And the second reason is like there is a limited due to zoning restrictions, some bureaucratic processes or bureaucratic snafu, which contribute to this sluggish growth. Of course, we are not going to go into details of their zoning put in place by the government, and of course, in order for the land to be developed, there is some bureaucratic snafu which will restrict. So as a result, it contributes to this sluggish growth of building houses. The other reason is there are foreign buyers, particularly more from Asia, particularly more from China, who are coming to Canada to buy the houses, speculating that the prices will rise and then they'll fall. So then they will sell and make a profit. So there are other speculative buyers in the housing market who are foreigners coming to buy. And there are no government restrictions right now. So there are some provinces, like particularly in British Columbia, where that problem was a bit rampant, and they had to put in place some taxes, and as in order to that behavior, that speculative buying. However, it has alleviated the problem a little bit, but not entirely. It hasn't eliminated the problem entirely, but it's still there. There are still some speculative buyers who are in the market. Another problem is urbanization and the population growth in the cities. People tend to come more to the cities. All the immigrants, when they come to Canada, they go to cities like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, these major cities. That's where they are attracted. That's where the job prospects are. And hence, that's where the demand of houses surged, and where the demand outstrips supply by far in these major cities. And also we have government policies and regulations. We have land use development charges, building codes, which affect the cost of construction and supply of houses. That's which I talked a little bit earlier, that we have it's really hard to understand. Canada is a huge country. For those who are not familiar with Canada, Canada is the second largest world, second from Russia. It is larger than the entire EU, European Union, the countries that make European Union put together. Canada is bigger than that. We have a lot of untapped land. However, it is really mind-boggling to find that people can't get houses to buy. Houses cannot be built. We have lots of land. We are bigger than the United States as far as the land mass. That's equivalent to the population of California. The entire country, which is the second largest, bigger than has a population equivalent to that of state of California. So something is really not right in this country. So we have this land use regulation, these development charges, these building charges, building codes, which affect the construction and the supply of houses. We also have a lack of affordability options. There is a gap between household income and the cost of housing, which contribute to people not being able to afford the houses. Let's just recap some of the reasons for high cost of housing in Canada. Supply. Demand outstrips supply. In the major cities, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary in Alberta, Edmonton in Alberta, and as a result, this will contribute to high cost of housing. Limited availability of land development due to zoning restrictions by government, of course. The government has some zoning restrictions that restrict the development of land. And of course, there are some bureaucratic processes that contribute to this sluggish growth of houses. Not many houses are being built per year. Then we have foreign investors who are coming to speculate about housing, particularly from China. They come and buy a house in anticipation that the price will go up and they will profit from it. And also we have urbanization and population growth. All immigrants go to major cities. All immigrants, they go to major cities. As a result, these cities are being flooded by people and who demand more houses. And then also we have government policies and the regulations. We have land use regulations, development charges, building codes, which affect the cost of construction and the supply of houses. So there are high costs associated initially, like when the builders come in to develop the land, there are these government costs, there are taxes, there are the building codes, there are regulations, there are these charges which affect the housing cost, and also they will contribute to the affordability crisis. And there is a gap between the wages. Okay, the wages, there's been a sluggish growth of wage in Canada, but their house costing is exponentially increasing, right? As a result, this is contributing to affordability crisis. And we have other economic factors that while the house prices have risen significantly in many years, the wages hasn't, making it difficult for home ownership. We have also the impact of short-term rentals, Airbnb contributing to housing shortages. People are converting their properties into Airbnb. They take that house off the housing market and it becomes an Airbnb, and hence that means there are now less houses on the market. And also there are regional disparities that houses affordability varies significantly across the region in Canada. As you have seen here in British Columbia, it's almost 1,964,349. In Ontario, close to 1 million. But if you go to New Brunswick, it's $326,100. Yeah, $326,100. Okay, if you go to Newfoundland and Labrador, it's $309 at $844. So if you go to Prince Edward Island, on the East Coast, houses tends to be more affordable. And also we have Saskatchewan, more affordable. But if you go to British Columbia, where a lot of speculation is going on, houses tend to be very high. In Ontario, which is flooded with immigrants, in major cities like Toronto. In Toronto, the houses can be, some of them can be a 3-bedroom. An average 3-bedroom house can be as much as 1.2 million, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1,500,000 for just a mere 3-bedroom house. A meager 3-bedroom house is just an average small house. The affordability of houses tend to vary across the provinces. So let's look at the bottom line. High cost of housing in Canada is a multifaceted issue shaped by economic, demographic, policy-related factors. Demand exceeding supply. Foreign investment, what I talked about, Chinese coming in. Urbanization trends and the regulatory framework all contribute to expensive housing market in major Canadian cities. Addressing housing affordability requires a comprehensive approach involving government intervention, policy reforms, sustainable urban planning strategies. By understanding the root causes of high housing costs, stakeholders can work together, creating a more inclusive and affordable housing market that meets the demands of all Canadians. We thank you for watching this video.